what our nation would be with no Russia-Ukraine war, no October 7th disaster in Israel and the Middle East. It's inflamed right now. It's inflamed like nobody's seen it for 50 years. No inflation and energy dominance. That's what we'd have, energy dominance. We'd have no inflation. We wouldn't have either the Middle East or the Russia, Ukraine. What a different world it would be, wouldn't it be? Oh, we can't let them cheat on elections anymore. We will rebuild our cities, including Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. Right now, we have a capital that when you go down there, you have a damn good chance of being hurt, bugged, something. And we will keep the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. We're losing that.
Now look, is discussing Trump's crowd size the most important thing in the world? Absolutely not. Is it worth talking about anyway because his crippling insecurity means that he can't handle the fact that his rallies are boring? Abso-fucking-lutely. This was from Donald Trump's latest rally when he was campaigning in the must-win swing state of New York. I'm not here to give Donald Trump's campaign any advice, but you're not flipping New York. And right now you are losing in polling in nearly every battleground state. But hey, I feel like Manhattan is just about ready to flip red, Donald. Keep it up. And while Trump filled up the auditorium at the beginning of his rally, it didn't take long before you can see people begin to pour out of the building, which reminds me of a certain something that Kamala Harris said at the debate.
And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you.
And of course, that struck such a chord that this is the meltdown that ensued.
First, let me respond as to the
Please.
rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back.
So yeah, if you're wondering whether Donald Trump is just a tad bit sensitive on this topic, I think you got your answer. And if you're wondering whether that's why I'm taking a slight detour away from my normal videos to cover this, well, I'll just leave that up to you. Granted, we shouldn't be surprised that Donald Trump is especially delicate these days. Crowd size is and always has been one of the only things that Trump cares about. He doesn't care about policy or governing or legislation. He wants attention and adulation from his adoring fans. That's it. So for him to now be losing that, well, that's not exactly sitting well with him. And I don't think it helps that Kamala's rallies also look a little bit like this.
So Arizona, bring that joy with you. Bring those smiles, bring that positive future as you join me in welcoming the next President of the United States, Kamala Harris. Freedom, freedom, I can't move. Freedom, cut me loose. Yeah. Freedom, freedom, where are you? 'Cause I need freedom too. I break chains up on myself. Won't let my freedom rot in hell. Hey.
In fact, Kamala's rallies are so popular that Trump is taken to claiming that they must be AI. Trump took to Truth Social to declare that a rally that was televised, photographed, and even live streamed by me was apparently all fake, writing, "Has anybody noticed that Kamala cheated at the airport? There was nobody at the plane, and she AI'd it, and showed a massive crowd of so-called followers, but they didn't exist. She was turned in by a maintenance worker at the airport when he noticed the fake crowd picture, but there was nobody there, later confirmed by the reflection of the mirror-like finish on the vice presidential plane. She's a cheater, she had nobody waiting, and the crowd looked like 10,000 people. Same thing is happening with her fake crowds at her speeches. This is the way Democrats win elections, by cheating. And they're even worse at the ballot box. She should be disqualified because the creation of a fake image is election interference. Anyone who does that will cheat at anything." I'm not sure whether Donald Trump just hates his supporters that much that he's now trying to dupe them with the most easily debunkable lie in the history of the world, or worse, if he's actually that dumb that he believes the disinformation that he's spreading. But either way, not great when the guy running to gain control of our nuclear arsenal has worse digital literacy than a 9-year-old. And of course, that drew this response from Tim Walz.
You might have seen, things got pretty exciting for me over the last 10 days. But not just for me. If you didn't notice, a few people showed up in Philly last week. And then about 12,000 showed up, many thousands walking for miles in the heat to a field in western Wisconsin. Then at that time, the largest rally of the campaign showed up in Detroit, Michigan. Donald Trump said it was AI. You know what won't be AI? Their ballots come November will not be AI.
The only thing worse than embarrassing yourself by claiming that a 15,000 person rally was somehow fake is then getting called out for being that idiot in front of another 15,000 people. Well done, Donald. Well done. In fact, Walz didn't even stop there. Seeing that Trump's crowds have been a little bit thin these days, especially relative to the Harris-Walz rallies, Walz also had this to say.
Hey. Yeah. Wow. Well, you might have seen a few people showed up in Philadelphia the other night. And then 10,000 plus walked into a field in western Wisconsin. And then on Wednesday, the largest crowd of the campaign showed up in Detroit, Michigan. It's not as if anybody cares about crowd sizes or anything.
I mean, honestly, Trump is so pathetic that if he wasn't such a miserable despot, I might actually feel bad for him. And let's be clear, we're in the midst of a downward spiral by Trump. The more his crowd's thin, the more he dissembles, which means the more he turns off voters, which means fewer people show up to support him, which only makes him more unhinged, and on this vicious cycle goes. And it's a spiral that's so obvious that even Republicans are openly lamenting the fact that Trump is incapable of having any semblance of message discipline.
Now, what Donald Trump needs to do is go out there and campaign every single day, telling the American people exactly what Kamala Harris has said. We are 80 plus days out. We need him to win. But you got to go out and do the work. And the one thing Republicans have to stop doing, quit whining about her. We knew it was going to be her. She's not going to give an interview. They're going to hold out as long as they can. That's their right. They can do it. That doesn't mean we can't talk about what she believes in. The campaign is not going to win talking about crowd sizes. It's not going to win talking about what race Kamala Harris is. It's not going to win talking about whether she's dumb. It's not. You can't win on those things. The American people are smart. Treat them like they're smart.
And of course, these people can beg and plead all they want, but one thing is clear. Trump will never learn because he is incapable. He has no self-control, and he is unfit to lead. And more people are learning that by the day. Before you go, just a quick note, if you'd like to see more of my content, which is always free of advertising, sponsorships, and paywalls, please make sure to subscribe to this channel using the subscribe button right here on this screen. And if you'd like to support my work even further, you can grab a copy of my instant #1 New York Times selling book, Shameless, available for sale right now. That link is also on the screen. Thanks so much for watching.